Hello and welcome to Sporting Jibberish. I'm Stuart.
I'm Jack Luffman.
Today's show, it is your turn for Al Nassr and everything that's good and bad and awesome about them today. Looking forward to that. We're going through some more Premier League transfers and stories. Champions League update as well, including how well people are doing out there on the Brass and Red quiz. Some interesting stuff about Celtic, Charlton, Chef Wed's coming up.
Yeah. Bizarre. That situation is bizarre for me.
Yeah, we'll go into more detail about it shortly. We are also going to be talking about fantasy football as that is upon us, and I've already started to shift about my team already. Been messing about, been having a play. My turn for Sporting Maverick, so thanks Luke Cullen for that. Boxing, we've got a little bit of an article because it's the big weekend, it's the final showdown this weekend. Parents in sport, few stories.
I'm going to be interested what you say about that actually.
Yeah, well, history tells me everything I need to know about that. Then it's your turn for Jack's story, but we're going to start off with women's sport and what's going on at the moment, Jack.
Yeah, obviously we discussed it last week about how it seems to have been left a little bit behind maybe during COVID and after. And I know you mentioned, Stu, about how it was an opportunity you felt that had been missed to get the Women's Football Premier League on television. Well, BBC have done it again because it's this weekend is the British Open, Women's Open. They've got coverage of it, and guess what they've done? They've put the highlights at 11:55 each night on BBC. So an opportunity to put women's golf at the forefront of live sport. Nothing else really going on, particularly on network television in the UK, and that's what they decided to do.
If they're thinking about it now, even worst case scenario, if you can put it on BBC Two, because I know when Wimbledon's on, they flicker, don't they, between the mainstream and the mainstream programmes on, it goes to BBC Two. So that's
just
who's going to stay up? That being disrespectful. I struggled all week to step for the Champions League games because over here the 11 o'clock kickoffs.
Exactly.
To stay up and watch highlight of golf.
Crackers, and I know that Lee Westwood, Tommy Fleetwood, they've tried to encourage it for a bit of a change of approach for it. Justin Rose, obviously, and his wife, obviously, right at the beginning of this period, we talked about how they sponsored a women's tournament to get up and going. They've obviously spoken vehemently about it, but hopefully that will change and maybe at least get a couple of the after the cup, the weekend rounds live would be better. But
well, if there's anybody from BBC Sport out there, because everybody's listening to us at the moment, so get in contact. Why is the question?
Well, and then just very briefly on the cricket, the Women's Cricket International England have had a bit of bad news this week. The South Africa no longer can come, so they were due to play. They've been in isolation. They were due to play a triangular tournament: England, India, South Africa. India obviously pulled out a while back, so they're still hoping that South Africa were going to come. They're not coming now. So the England women are in this bubble at Derby, played some squad games, preparation, and it doesn't look like we're going to get any international cricket. So that's pretty disappointing from their point. So I don't know what's going on there. There is some domestic stuff going on for them fairly soon, so they will play some cricket. But you could find, and we did mention it again last week, you could find that on the back of what was 8, and I saw some footage actually of the Australian women's team celebrating that 2020 win that you were talking about last week, Stu, with Katy Perry, because she did the closing ceremony, full, MCG full.
80,000 wasn't it?
86,000 I think, and then no more international cricket play this year.
That's frightening. Is there nothing they can do? Is there no and I don't want to be disrespectful because you don't want to put them against county teams, but is there no decent amateur teams that could potentially play out? Could Woodall rock up and...
it'd be interesting, I mean, obviously it's not international cricket, so I'm guessing now, there must be ways of, potentially could they go and play the second 11 championship. I don't actually know whether that's going ahead at the moment, but could they join in with that to give them at least some competitive cricket? But as I said, there is a domestic season starting for them very soon that they've reduced the number of sides in that to try and increase the quality, which was already a plan anyway. So just a bit disappointing that there's going to be no international women's cricket, and I think that was due on to be live on BBC as well. So a bit disappointing.
Massively, it's such a shame. Yes, Radisson Red quiz. So the quiz currently based upon Champions League.
I've gone, I think.
Well, the funny thing was one of the guys put on one of our WhatsApp groups. He's like, if anybody predicted Barcelona losing 8-2, they deserve to win the competition there and then. Nobody predicted that.
Can I just say, it makes Tottenham 7-2 defeat to Bolton look okay, doesn't it?
Well, I suppose if you look at it like that, potentially. But who was your manager at the time?
Poch.
All right, well he's gone, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So is the Barcelona new guy, old guy. But yeah, Champions League. We talked about this before. Yes, the competition is heating up nicely, and I think Mohamed is currently leading by 5 points, but that was the scores before the semi-final games.
Right, okay.
So I need to. I'll go back and have a look now. PSG have made it through to Bayern. So if you've got two teams in the final, you've automatically got 20 points and a good chance of potentially winning it.
Very good. And just on that, we spoke this morning. Good final, I think.
Yeah. So moving on from that onto Champions League in general. I watched the game last night and I was having a chat with you about it. Is Lyon must be sitting there kicking themselves this morning because two great opportunities in the first 10-15 minutes to go 2-0 up weren't clinical enough, and then Gnabry appears from nowhere. I didn't even realise Gnabry was at West Brom at one point. Did you know that? I remember he was at Arsenal, didn't get played, went on loan to West Brom, didn't really feature much at West Brom, and then was his one in the top corner with like his first couple of touches of the game.
It's amazing actually, when you look around European football, there's quite a few players like that who have not made it at some of our bigger clubs, and then not even made it at, within a smaller club in the Premiership, like that example, yet do it in abroad. And what does that say? Do the English clubs not look after them? Are they not good enough when they come? Do we try and get them too early? Or does it say that actually, forget about technical aspects and things like that actually the Premiership is just much more difficult to establish yourself in than the other leagues?
I think it's probably an element of all of that, but I think the probably biggest problem is you've got Gnabry there that's been chucked in at Arsenal at such a young age, never quite found his feet, wasn't fully physically developed, although technically was very good. Went to West Brom, didn't really suit his style of play.
Yeah, I mean,
he's kick and rush football.
Yeah.
So again, like last night, he came off his first goal. I know you've seen it, but his first goal, he comes in off the right side. He goes between 3 or 4 players and opens up and just bends it right to the top corner. You're like, what a finish! And West Brom fans would be like, oh my god, why you not do that when you were at us?
Yeah.
But remember, this was a few years ago. He wasn't quite as developed. He would have been lifted. That first tackle, the fullback would have lifted him on the first tackle 35 yards out towards the touchline. But yeah, as we're saying, is makes for an exciting Champions League final. It's really intriguing because as good as Bayern are going forward, they are, bar the goalkeeper, weak defensively. And I said this morning, Davies and Kimmich, awesome going forwards, but they leave such a big gap at the back, and it's literally 2-on-2. And you can sit there, Mbappe, if he's fully fit, is sat there rubbing his hands going, now Boateng came off at half time. I don't know what his full injury is, if he's going to miss the final or not, but he'll be looking at that Soul and going, hey, I fancy a bit of you, son.
Yeah, and I think the same could be said for Paris Saint-Germain. They're better players and the most exciting players are going forward, and defensively, again, questionable at times maybe.
Yeah.
I know you've got Thiago Silva who's out on a free at the end of the year, so it's his last game for Paris Saint-Germain.
Well, it'll come up on the transfers in a minute because there's rumours of him coming to the Premiership.
Yeah, I did see some of that actually a couple of weeks back, but yeah, so could be good. Where are you going with Stu?
I picked, to be fair, when I did this competition, I picked Barca, PSG in the final.
I had PSG, Man City, man.
Did you? So I'm gonna stick with PSG to lose in the final. I think Bayern will have probably a little bit more know-how to get over that line than PSG will.
It's unbelievable to think, because I know 2 weeks ago, or whatever it was, when we sat here talking about it coming back, we were like, well, Bayern might be just a little bit cold because they had played some football clearly, but it wasn't at any sort of tempo really, was it, when the German league came back? But to be fair, they've been world class.
Yeah, but then you can say the same. Paris Saint-Germain have not even played any football. And you look at that, we were completely out of it. Is that 2 French teams in the semi-final that haven't kicked the ball longer than everybody else? So
that poses the question, and probably not for now because we need to move on. But is pre-season overrated? Is what do they do? All these pre-season, because when you watch a pre-season friendly, and it doesn't matter what level it's at. I remember watching games, back home, Boston United, or you watch England friendlies in the past. I know they're a thing of the past now, thankfully. Or you happen to watch a friendly, even these friendly like the Audi Cup and things like that. They start off okay, don't they, for half an hour, and then there's 15 substitutions, and you do often think, what's the point? What have you got from that other than the old footballers' minutes in the legs kind of thing. But it just begs the question, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it is. It's football. Yeah, it's played at such a slow tempo pre-season. It's just a case of getting through that, being injured more than anything.
Yeah.
But I want to talk a little bit more about Champions League, because you mentioned this about the new format, or could this be the new format going forward? I sat there and I've actually really enjoyed it, and it's produced some really good games. There's been some upsets, and I think in one-off games, teams like Lyon have seen that and gone against Man City, had an element of luck. Goalkeepers had a good game, and they've gone through 3-1. So maybe it gives the underdog a bit more of a chance. And then I started thinking, if they did this format again next year and they played at neutral venues, you could literally reduce the time. And Sky and BT and IT would never allow this to happen, but you could literally just go group games, all play neutral venues, you only play each other once.
Yeah.
Makes for a little bit more excitement, and we might see the occasional upset. So go back years and years and years where Celtic beat Barcelona at home. You think that was at a neutral venue? Suddenly Barcelona could be going out.
Yeah, it does. I think it, whether they will or not, because ultimately it's money, like you just said about, you've mentioned the TV companies there. It does give them an opportunity to be creative, I think, with stuff. The argument is, I was just thinking then maybe so you go out of the group stages as they were, and then go into a straight knockout competition. You don't actually have to have it in one place necessarily, because like next year you've got the Euros, so it's always going to clash with something. It's been interesting, now, like I said last week, in terms of more attacking football. I think without the second, because you've got to think about however attacking a manager you are, and actually you'd argue that Pep bottled it, even in a one-legged match. But
Sterling bottled it more than anybody.
But he went very defensive against the side that they should go beat, playing their own way. But at home in a two-legged thing, or in a two-legged thing, the pressure on them to just like not concede an away goal, for example, and be in the tie for the second leg is such immense that maybe that's just gone out of the water, with the one-legged thing. And no crowd, I think, has a big bearing on it. Yeah. Because there's no pressure, there's nobody oohing when you miss, when I miscontrol the ball 15 million times in a row, that kind of thing.
But even if they just tried it out for this next season, because season's starting a little bit later, we've got big championships coming up.
Yeah.
Why not just go to one game in the group at a neutral venue, and it stops seeded teams, and we might see a little bit more upset. We do want to see the best teams, and two of the best teams have made it through to the final. But we also like an underdog.
Yeah, of course we do. Yeah.
We love an underdog.
Love an underdog. But probably two of the best. Certainly back in whenever it started, last September or whatever. Certainly they'd be up there, wouldn't they? The two best. It's funny though, wasn't it? I don't know if you're going to mention this because I don't know what you're going to talk about with Celtic, but when I was watching or just following the results, so Bayern were playing the other night in the semi-final of the Champions League, and they were playing on the same night in the first qualifying round or whatever round they're in this year's competition on the same night.
So all that leads nicely onto, because you guys can't see, we've got a format in front of us, and I've asked Jack, I want to talk about Celtic. I can't understand how they've been not allowed to play Scottish football for 2 weeks, but yet can go play the Champions League.
Do you know what? I never thought that.
And I was just sat there going, because when the game came up, I was like, they're supposed to be in a 2-week bubble now, because that idiot went over to Spain, came back, they can't play in the league games. Why are they playing Champions League?
Do you know what? No, I didn't. It didn't even cross my mind. Yeah.
And obviously, I don't know. I was just dumbfounded. I was like, how does that work?
I'm assuming it's because that break in the protocol was under Scottish Football Association rules and not UEFA. That's the only thing I can think of. But it's bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, he's still broken a bubble. He's gone to Spain, to a different country, and
well, that's what the argument is, that Celtic went to a different country to play the game. So I don't know if that's the way around. But then, if they're doing that, does that mean that every time they go over to a different country to play football in the Champions League, they have to take a 2-week break for the Champions League because they've got the bubble?
how's it going to work with this? We've got international friendlies coming up, haven't we, beginning of the month? I don't know. I think without getting too political or going through the old COVID-19 coronavirus, I just think that at the minute, from all aspects of life, both in the UK and even here, it's like, and around the world, I'm a bit dumbfounded about what you can and can't do, and the reasons why you can and can't do something, and why we have to be in bubbles here and not in there, and distance there, and masks wearing there and not there. And that is a really good prime example of that. Yeah, they weren't allowed to play. They don't play domestic football until, I think, another week or so.
They've still got this weekend is their second weekend of missing.
How bizarre. Somebody out there, tell us why is that?
I'm very, very confused about it. Championship football, Sheffield, Charlton.
Yeah. So obviously, have you seen what's gone on this week? So obviously Charlton have got relegated, didn't they?
Yes.
So Wigan, there was the whole Wigan thing, and the Court of Arbitration's report came back that said they couldn't. Basically, was saying that they couldn't prove that bet thing had happened. They didn't think it had, but they couldn't. Basically, either way, so their points reduction stood as it was. Fair enough. Sheffield Wednesday apparently couldn't go through the same procedure, i.e. the points being docked this season, because there was an admin error somewhere along the line. So what has there happened is Charlton have then gone, we're suing you. So I'm assuming the FA not the FA, it'd be the Football League. Just what a palaver, what a mess.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I spoke to Jason Kearns today, and we were talking about the Charlton thing because he's a Charlton fan, and he was saying it's absolute shambles. You know, I said that somebody at the EFL has to answer to this because it's an absolute joke. How Sheffield can be charged in November, appeal, and then be docked this season after just makes absolutely no sense to me.
And forget that, and Wigan were found guilty or whatever just prior to lockdown or after Sheffield Wednesday.
It was 4 games left of the season left.
And then go down anyway, and surely it's should be one rule for one rule for the other. And a lot, I don't know enough ins and outs legally or about exactly what they've done, but from a football fan's point of view, and particularly if you're Charlton or Wigan, it's not fair, is it?
No, definitely not.
Sheffield Wednesday fan, Marble will be laughing.
Yeah, well, it's a shambles, but somebody's got to answer to it at some point, hopefully.
Yeah, but we'll see how that develops, because again, the biggest issue is legal things don't take 5 minutes, do they?
No.
They're a lengthy process, and we're starting the season in
a couple of
weeks' time. So I don't know, Charlton, I think you're just going to have to win League One, get out of it, prove everybody wrong.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Is Boye still there? Is he staying?
I think so. I've not seen anything other than
I don't think he's left yet, has he?
No.
But right, transfers. I tell you what, last week it was absolutely ram-packed. All this talk about United and Sancho, and then suddenly it's just gone quiet. United have been linked with a 17-year-old, I believe, a young player.
Yeah, I've read that.
So they may be going for that. But the one I wanted to bring to your attention is rumour in the rumour mill is Spurs are going in for a loan deal for Ryan Brewster from Liverpool.
But yeah, I mean, fit the bill, because clearly it's no secret, is it, that Tottenham need a striker. They need his backup striker. It's been like that. You know, I thought that Llorente did a really good job for us, actually, and I would have offered him another 1-year deal last year before they left. There was rumour that he might come back on another 1-year deal, but I don't know if that's dead in the water. So it doesn't surprise me. And of course, we've got to, I think I mentioned it last week, or certainly been told, we've got to get our English quota back up for the squads for Europe, and I think there's something like that in the Premier League now as well, isn't there?
Yeah, well, you got Joe Hart, haven't you?
Yeah, so Joe Hart's coming to
one.
that as well, which incidentally I think is a decent signing.
I don't understand. If I was Ryan Brewster, I'd be like, right, I'm at Liverpool and I'm potential backup to Bobby Firmino, or if we need a goal, or maybe I get some game time for Liverpool. He's going to be doing the same role at Spurs.
Yeah, you thought you'd say your parent club.
Probably stay there, and then maybe if you're going to go and get a loan deal, is somewhere like say Aston Villa or Leeds, where you're going to potentially challenge their strikers to get some game time.
Because he did well at Swansea, didn't he?
Yeah, he was putting them in left, right, and centre towards the end of the season. So yeah, it was a strange one, but
interesting. Yeah, I mean it fits. It certainly from a Spurs point of view fits in what we want. My other kind of point would be, well, hang on a minute, why are we loaning a young lad in when we've loaned a young lad out in Troy Parrott, who by all accounts, well, statistically, when you look at his under 23 reserve team football, whatever it is, bangs him in left, right, and centre. Obviously on the Republic of Ireland's radar's had a cap already. Yeah. I think it's a good move for him to go play at Millwall for a season, but I was expecting a senior player to come in and replace him, because of course we've been linked with Callum Wilson, but I reckon they're holding out for a bit more than what that initial fee of 10 million was being talked about.
Well, that'd be Daniel Levy being awkward in the past, coming back to bite him in the butt.
Yeah. So the loan deal makes sense in terms of that money thing. And look, the lad looks a decent player, so you'd be happy to have him. But like I say, strange one.
Yeah, and the other one that's linked with Spurs, Mourinho's come out and said he wouldn't mind having Bale back.
Yeah, well, they worked together, didn't they, when he was at Madrid. I think this move is all down to Gareth Bale, because it seems that Real Madrid are happy to let him go, cut price, loan, whatever it might be, pay half his wages still or whatever it might be if the wages are an issue for the club he goes to. Tottenham clearly want him. I think that's the fans would love him back. It would be a decent place for him to go because I don't think he'd have to prove anything necessarily. Mourinho wants him, so I do honestly think it's all down to Gareth Bale. And we've talked about him in particular on that kind of sportsman. You know, what are you actually in it for the money, or are you in it to play football?
You got any good golf courses near your ground? That might be the selling point for it.
I mean, I'm sure they can find. They're probably building one. They've probably got one like that lodge. Did you see? You might not have seen actually. So the lodge at the training ground, new training ground, they've got this thing called the Tottenham Hotspur Lodge, which I know is where Mourinho staged initial period of lockdown, things like that. I didn't realise till the other day that when I was watching the Joe Hart medical, you know, they do stuff, that each player has a room at the lodge.
Nice.
So he was actually in. I think he went into Oliver Skipp's room because he's gone out on loan to Norwich for the season, which is a good loan move. So you never know. There's probably a golf course there already for him.
Wowzers.
But it'd be a good addition to us.
You're
not convinced.
I'm not. I'm still going to sit on there and say
not convinced.
Not for me.
I think it'd be decent.
Player we mentioned before, Thiago Silva, has ended his contract, potentially being offered to Chelsea.
Yeah, so I think early on in the piece, against Spurs were semi-linked with him, but I think they're always going to be linked with any strikers, any centre halves, because that's where we need. But I saw that this morning with Chelsea. They need some defenders, though, don't they?
Yeah,
they're all over the place.
Well, yeah, I think somebody like
and experience.
Yeah, Thiago Silva would sit nicely because you've got two half decent centre halves there, and if you can develop Rudiger and bring him and develop him along.
I quite like Eriksen, Eriksen, who's it? Christensen,
and then they've got Zuma as well.
Yeah.
But that three young, half decent centre halves.
Yeah.
They're not awful,
they're not rubbish, no.
But they just kind of that experience gets them caught out of position sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think you look at what Van Dijk's done with Gomez and Matip and should everybody up around him. That makes a massive difference.
And look at what John Terry did when he was at Chelsea with Cahill when he came in, and David Luiz to a degree, and the other people, and Zuma even. You know, that you're right. That a bit of experience alongside one of them, I think they'd look completely different players.
Yeah. So, well, hopefully, I'm saying hopefully. I don't particularly want Chelsea to keep busting because they've already bought two in. Kai Havertz is on the verge of signing this week now. His Europa League thing's done. Get Thiago Silva in. They suddenly look a bit of a force there, don't they?
They do. What about this one then? I mentioned to you in the car on the way back from footy earlier on this morning. I scored a hat-trick this morning, by the way, everybody.
Oh no, you're not doing the kegs, are you? You're not going to put it on like Facebook that you scored a hat-trick and then forget to tell me you were playing five-a-side against a load of donuts.
I did score a hat-trick. I did miss a sitter as well.
Do you want to talk about that one?
No.
For people on the camera, he was this far out at the back post with an open goal, and goals here, and Jack's shot went over there somewhere.
Yeah.
It's still going.
I think he went for a throw in. But what I was going to talk about, what about, so I'm not sure if this Jordan Sancho deal is going to go. Read today from the thing that Man United are going to go for Grealish and include Romero in the deal. Now what I find interesting about that is how much money is going to change hands. Is Grealish the player they need? I don't think so. I don't think he's the right type of player. He's not Jordan Sancho, is he?
No, Jordan Sancho's direct, fast. It goes to people. Grealish is more, I'm going to hold it up and I'm going to guide my way through.
I mean, he probably replaced like Mata in the squad because of Mata's. But what, interesting enough, and we did talk about it, said that if I offer Sergio Romero away, that means that he's obviously thinking about keeping both Henderson and De Gea, because Bournemouth have sold Ramsdale to Sheffield United for 18.5 million. So Henderson, for me, is certainly nailed in at staying at Man United. So all those people saying he's going to go out on another loan deal somewhere, that's not happening. It looks to me like De Gea is going to be a fight for the number one spot.
I'd cash in under here, get yourself 60-70 million, and then if you still want to go through a Sancho deal, you've got a little bit more wad there to go for. Use that. But we mentioned this before, is that if De Gea has a bad start to the season, first 6 months is rubbish, and then Henderson comes and replaces, and you look to offload De Gea in January, that you're going to be getting 20-30 million for it.
I mean, I must admit, I'm not convinced that one season for Sheffield United, albeit he played well, clearly, is enough to warrant all this noise around him, because if he was that good, well, you know, why was there not a lot of noise prior to that, you know? But it's difficult with these youngsters, isn't it? It's what you do, but interesting there that because Romero's still a good keeper for me as well.
Yeah,
still decent.
Well, I made me think after you mentioned that was, is Romero better than Pepe Reina? There's question marks over that.
Was Reina, was it just a short-term deal though, or did he?
I don't know. I thought Reina had signed, but they had two keepers because Pepe swapped, didn't he? Because Pepe started, then had a bit of a spell, but the other goalkeeper in. Then Pepe came back into the end of the season when they managed to get them up, just showed up the defence, and then you're going to talk about bringing Romero in. So maybe Pepe's gone somewhere else.
He's aged well, I think.
Yeah. Wife would agree with that.
Yeah,
she met him once in Manchester, did bizarrely. She phone calls. You forget to mention that she was with Dirk Kuyt as well, but I just got. I think it's just a picture of her and Pepe, and I think Dirk's in background somewhere. But
obviously, well, it all will come to not too long. The transfer window's open longer, but the season obviously starts in 3 weeks, and the fixtures were announced.
Yeah.
Well, this morning, so yesterday morning, if you listen to this on Friday.
Yeah. So what we'll do is rather than keep talking about the top teams every week, we'll have a little look at what's going on in the middle clubs. Well, we'll keep talking about United. They're a middle club anyway, so we'll maybe go a little bit lower down the league. Maybe talk about Everton. And see what's going on in their transfer area.
Arsenal, we might as well get that in.
Well, you get your digging now.
Yeah, well, Arsenal, mid-table clubs.
But yeah, we'll
not
move.
We'll
move. The shots have been fired. Right, so we'll talk about your Arabian Gulf League. Al Nassr, who are the ones to watch, Jack?
So Al Nassr, I've been having a look around, and obviously they've been training on next to us when we've been playing. Although I've not weren't there today, so maybe they're.
No, I think their their season starts this week.
Right.
I think it's the cup game first week.
So anyway, I've looked through them all, and obviously their big name player Negredo, who obviously he's gone back to Spain, as we said. So they've actually placed them with a lad called Ryan Mendes de Gracia, but Ryan Mendes, who is a Cape Verdean international, left winger. He's signed this year, but he's come from Sharjah, the reigning champions.
Wow.
They've signed him in which he scored 20 goals in 40 appearances last season.
Big move then.
Yeah, big move. He's originally from Le Havre, played for some time for Lille, had 32 appearances on loan at Nottingham Forest in the 15-16 season as well, scoring 2 goals.
Oh,
so
not as prolific at Forest.
No, and he's made 41 caps for Cape Verde. So Mendes left winger looks tricky. So he's one to watch. And the other one, another signing they've made, is a lad called Sebastian Tagliabue. I think I've said that right.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. I thought he was going to say, oh, I know him.
No.
And he is 35-year-old striker of Argentinian descent, but has got UAE citizenship earlier this year.
So there's still a chance for me then?
There is still a chance for you, Stu. He, from Argentina, I got a bit excited because at one point it said in 2008 he played for Everton. I'm like, but it's Everton in Argentina.
Oh, yeah.
But he has been in the UAE by the looks of things since 2012. Scored, it was at Al Wada from 2013 to 2020. 116 goals and 118 appearances.
Oh, so that is a record.
That is a record. So he's signed for Al Nassr. The boys have signed in this. I think 2-3 weeks ago. Looking at that, so we'll see. So they're the 2 ones to watch. So Ryan Mendes and let me say it again for you, Sebastian Tagliabue.
It always sounds like Tagliatelle. You're going to talk about spaghetti or something.
Sebastian. So yeah, we'll see. But the league season starts 11th.
Yeah, I think it's cup game first week, and then it goes into league games week after. So the idea aim is that we'll hopefully do a little bit of recording down at one of the grounds.
Yeah, definitely.
Shabab Al Hadi.
Yeah. Al Nassr, come on, boys.
Yeah, we will see. Red against blue.
Okay.
Age-old enemy.
I know, yeah. Okay, Stu, parents in sport. What have you got to tell me about?
Oh no, so what happened was I've been watching Coach U. So the new season's come on and it's based in Kansas.
Last Chance U, Coach U.
Yeah, Last Chance U, which is basically, for people who haven't watched it, it's American football. It's a junior college. So they're not one of the divisional big schools, But what they've done is this school called Independence, which is where Jack Reacher was filmed.
Yeah, so that's why I watched it. It says Independence, and there's actually one of the Jack Reacher novels that I like is actually based in Independence.
Independence. So what they've done is they followed the school, and what happened? They brought this brand new coach in, very very aggressive guy, Coach Brown, and what they did is in the first year they were only allowed 20% of the roster from outside of their area, and then they scrapped the rule and they allowed 100% of the roster from outside of the area. So he's basically really good at recruiting. He's brought these players in. So I watched the first season. I particularly focused on one of the players, and if anybody's seen his name, was Bobby Bruce, from, I can't even think what area he was from. I think it might be New Orleans, something like that. Really bad upbringing. We introduced his mum on there. But what made me start, and when he talked about parents in sport, was this poor lad was under so much pressure because his mum wanted to become professional, wanting to earn millions of dollars, wanted to look after her cousins, her aunties, her uncles. And I just felt this poor lad going in was a good player. Actually, he was only small, but the pressure was straight from the word go that he was deemed that he was going to make it professional, even though the percentages are just like football, 0.02% of boys that play make it professional in NFL. But straight from the get-go, his pressure was on there. He couldn't deal with the pressure. I'm not going to spoil it and tell you what happens, but it then made me start thinking about parents in sport. So you've got a couple of different types of parents. You've got the type of parents that want their children to do well and they encourage and they go along and they enjoy watching the kids play sport. I've learnt to do that when I don't coach Harry. When I coach Harry, it's a different concept because I have the coach's hat on. But when I go as a parent, I often like to sit back and watch the game and have a look. And we have a chat after the game and we talk about what went well and what you could do a bit better. But it's very much in the confines of the car, not in front of anybody else or in public. But then I've had some parents as a coach where some of the things that come out of their mouth are absolutely ridiculous, and it's very very difficult at times as a coach to try and instruct kids what they should and shouldn't be doing from what your viewpoint is, to have a parent on the other side of the pitch telling the kid to come here, do this, do that, and it's usually going against what you've asked them to do. And one particular day, one parent came up to me, and I'm not going to mention any names for this, but came up to me and said, I know I don't know a lot about football, but I think my son should play striker. So you're like, I need to be diplomatic about this. I was like, you know that first start of that sentence? Yeah, maybe we should just leave it there. And
what did he say?
Well, it was a she. It was a she. And so she says, yeah, but and I was just like, look, your son doesn't grasp what's going on in the game a lot. So if he stands up there, I know you want him to score more goals. If he stands up there, the game will pass him by because he's got no concentration. And that's the easiest way to explain him. He'd quite happily watch a butterfly and he'd follow the butterfly around the pitch.
That's nice.
It is pretty nice. But when he's involved in the game, he's very very good. Great at heading the ball, good at tackling, good at passing the ball.
So he's a centre half then?
Well, what I did was when we played five-a-side, I played him as one of the defenders. So I played him as one of the defenders, and the idea was we tried to play football. Goalkeeper gets it out and he rolls it to the right centre back or the left centre back. They split, and we play from there. So this kid was always involved in the game. One wanted to score because he wasn't scoring many goals in this position, but he was always involved in the game. So we tried it. I really didn't want to do it, but I thought, you know what, just to appease mum, put him up front. He barely touched the ball, just absolutely.
Like watching me play off.
Oh, but it's one of them that it's. And this is the hardest bit about being, and at the time, it's a volunteer role.
Yeah.
And hats off to all the volunteer coaches back home, is that they do it because they have a passion. I've been along and I've watched really bad coaches that are very aggressive and very demanding of the players, and it doesn't help, it puts people off. And I think maybe a little bit more needs to be done on developing a coach awareness, and more maybe from the FA's point of view in how to do that. And I know
management sort of thing.
Yeah, and maybe just like an outreach program where the guys have passed the level 1 course, an assessor comes along once in a while and just checks on them and see how they're going on, because that can have a detrimental effect as well as the parents. And the FA brought this ruling in, and it was no shouting. It was a silent weekend, which I thought, this is going to be brilliant. This is going to be amazing. And it killed the game. There was just no atmosphere.
Yeah.
And all you're allowed to do was clap when somebody did something. You weren't allowed to encourage and stuff. So there needs to be a happy medium. To be fair, when I did Harry's team, the Long Sands team, the parents that I worked with at that point were absolutely fantastic. We had an agreement. I ran the team. This is what happened. I don't want to sound like it's a dictatorship, but I am the law. Yeah, and it worked really well, and the parents respected that, and we produced some amazing results, and we played some fantastic football. But I think that was because I came from an experienced area, and there'd be some coaches there that won't have come from an experienced area, and the parents knew that I'd played a bit, so it helped me breaking that ice down straight away. But I think for some coaches, they find it really difficult. That just a volunteer dad will go, I watch the Premiership on a Saturday, I'm going to come and help, and the parents, he doesn't know what he's doing. I know this, I know that better. So for me, it was a little bit, and maybe we can develop this a little bit more and find out some more stories, because I've got 101 stories about parents. But yeah, parents in sport, go along, encourage, watch the game, clap when your child does something well, encourage. The coaches make mistakes just the same as you do, but just encourage them and help them along.
I mean, yeah, I've got there's some high profile things, isn't there, like of parents, pushy parents, whatever, Tiger Woods' dad, the Williams sisters' dad, and he probably worked out absolutely right for them. But there's also the story of those pushy parents that have actually pushed players, sports girls, sports boys, and in the performing arts industry where you've had pushy parents and they've chucked it away. And there's also good examples of where parents have just actually took backseat, even if they have been professionals at the end of the time. I follow a lot of cricketers obviously on social media, and I'm looking at the likes of Ricky Clark at Surrey, Michael Vaughan, formerly captain, Ian Bell. Their boys and girls are all now beginning to play, and they're playing cricket, but they're just sat watching. Yeah. Vaughan often tweets or puts on Instagram. He's obviously at Alderley Edge Cricket, which is a lovely place. Got my first county wicket at Alderley Edge, lovely place. Used to be overlooked by, the house was still there, overlooked by a big house. It was Martin Edwards, is the chairman of, the ex-chairman of Man United, but he's often known and posts a picture of him with a pint or a gin and just sat watching. And I'm sure he passes on advice if they come to it, but I think that's the way to be. But I've not coached a great deal of cricket, to be honest, because I'm still playing. But in the role of the club captain I had at Woodall for 10 plus years, and obviously I'm very proud of the fact that I worked for a lot of young players who went on to win the championship last year. But interesting times when you're getting, when you first give because he's had a few good games in the seconds and the Sunday, you've got a gap. And I was always a big believer if I'm picking a junior, he's a batsman who's going to bat. If he's a bowler, he's going to bowl. It's as simple as that. Because the rest of us aren't. If we can't carry a young lad who might just struggle a bit, doesn't get a high score, or he's one or two overs go for a lot, then the rest of us aren't as good as what we think we are. And I pride myself on that. But there's a difference between opening the batting and getting 30 or 40 or 50, 60 at Sunday Division 2, and then when you bat at 7 and then all of a sudden I'm getting a phone call saying, well, I think you should be batting at 4. Well, how are you going to get batting at? He's 14 years old, he's played one Premier League game, and I've got 6 players who basically all minor counties players in the top 6. How's he batting at 4?
Yeah, delusion half the time.
And it's that idea. I agree with you. Support. If you've got an issue, not a problem. Have a phone call, have a chat, but be realistic. Be realistic, because particularly in cricket, probably more so than football, is that you're playing with guys who have got 20 plus years experience playing at Premier League level. It's very difficult. Learn from it. Don't just think you can come in and develop from there straight away. There's a big difference, big gap.
Yeah.
Sporting Mavericks, right? So I said about. Did you say he won it? He won. Ronnie O'Sullivan won last week.
He did win, yeah.
So he backed his words.
Did he chop one arm off and one leg off?
Yeah, probably. And did you see they let fans in, didn't they, for the second session?
Because the game was over.
One frame.
One frame.
So I did set you the challenge, and everybody else out there, we've not had any yet. So please put your names forward for a whatever you think might be a Sporting Mavericks. Stuart set you the challenge. You've had a bit of help, I think, from Luke. Yeah,
Luke Cullen from Doc Mania Nations, who could be named Sporting Jibberish Nations next season.
We're getting all over.
Luke just dropped me a message. He was like, "What about this guy?" And I sat there and I was like, you know what? He's absolutely spot on. This guy. Maybe I should describe him. So this guy's probably played for the majority of top clubs all around Europe. Still playing now.
Oh, I've got it.
You got it already? Wowzers. Go on.
Zlatan
Ibrahimovic,
yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah.
You know what? There's an air of arrogance about him, which I absolutely love. I've seen some of the clips where he's playing against people and he's checked the names on the back and they've given him a bit of grief. And I'm like, that is absolutely brilliant. I know he's had a few pots with Joey Barton, and he's like, who are you? But this guy backs up what he says.
He generally does, yeah.
You know, like, you go back and you go, when he played Barcelona, he was quality. He's been brilliant he came along and scored for United and was good at United. Went over to LA, scored all the goals in LA, and now he's gone to Milan and gone and bagged goals in Milan. So he's delivered at every club he's been at. He has been, there is arrogance about him, but that's probably what makes him a maverick, you know, like that says, I'm here, this is me, I am better than you, and I will score goals. And then he does it.
Yeah, some of the things he talks about, because like, if I played a five-a-side team, did he pick? I'm sure I've seen it somewhere. You know when they do like 1 to 11 or your five-a-side team, you picks over, and he picks himself even in goal.
Yeah, but he is just another level. But it was funny because I remember first seeing him playing. I think he might be for Sweden. I was like, who is this guy? You know, like, he maybe not been prolific at Barca, may not made that heights that like the old Ronaldo did, and you know, like that type of player, but he still went and scored there, won trophies. Everywhere he's gone, he's won, and he's a real winner. And you know, like, even when he plays for Sweden, that goal he scored against England with that overhead kick, that's unbelievable. You know, like the goals he scores, but I think he does a lot of like kickboxing, doesn't he?
Yeah, because actually
his flexibility is phenomenal.
Yeah, so actually when you talk about sporting mavericks, often people think about like, because they do things a little bit different on the field or really different off the field. He's not. He's got the ponytail, and he's a bit outlandish, I suppose, in the way he dresses. But actually, and he certainly is in the way he speaks. But actually, on the field, he's pretty traditional, isn't he? As a forward, you know, very good, and I say, but pretty traditional.
He's an English type.
Yes, he is. It'd be interesting to see him in his prime in England. Yeah, because I think he would have been very good. But yeah,
United fans will agree. You know, like he was quality for United. When he was called upon, he delivered.
I remember actually when he joined, two guys at the career club, Ross Dixon, who is Man United fan, and then Paul Timby, who was our coach at the club. He's a Chelsea fan, and they had this big ding dong, and they had a bet about how many goals Latan would score, because I think Paul said he's passed it, and Ross obviously loved him and stuff like that. But yeah, so I remember that quite following it. But yeah, that's a good one actually.
Yeah, but I think he's about 39, 40 now, isn't he?
He must be getting on.
Yeah,
that's old in this chip.
Well, yeah, I know, wouldn't I? Same age as me. Like I said, there's still a chance. There's a chance if Zlatan's doing it.
Some less than 6 months.
Yeah, but yeah, so that was my sporting maverick. So do I throw this back at you now, and you've got to go and find another one?
I'll come up with one, and then anybody else, somebody come on and share it. We'll and give you reasons to try and get you on the show, on the pod.
Yeah.
We can either give you a call and record you on Zoom or something, or send me a voice note through WhatsApp or something like that. Let's get somebody out there. Matt Bean, you must have somebody out there who's here. What about, who was on the best this morning? Gaz Woodford, you've been listening. You must have a sporting maverick. You're a bit of a maverick yourself, actually.
Well, he's definitely something. I don't know if maverick's the right word.
He was outstanding in goal this morning, wasn't he? On one leg.
Yeah, one leg, no shins.
In his Converse
pumps.
Right. There he is, that's sporting Jibberish maverick.
Gaz Woodford. But
yeah, get in contact and I'll come up with one for next week.
Just before we go to your story, we're going to quickly cover boxing because it's the finals this weekend. It's the final showdown at Hearn's back garden. Big fight, Dillian White versus
Povetkin,
whatever.
That fella.
I'm going to go White to win that. Yeah. Povetkin, I think he's a very good boxer, but a bit on the edge side. And then the undercard is the ladies' fight. It's Taylor versus Pursoon, I think her name is. And I'm going to throw a shot at you. I'm going to go Pursoon to win.
Backing Katie Taylor, me.
The only reason is I watched the original fight where Taylor wins, and Pursoon's a bit of a boxer, but what Taylor did a lot of in that fight was wrap up.
Yeah.
Every time Pursoon started to like throw a few punches and started to look like it's getting some combination, Taylor just kept grabbing all the wrapping her up and really killed the fight. The referee should have done a bit more to say you need to stop doing this. You stop grabbing, stop holding. Let's see a boxing fight. Yeah. So I'm going to go for an upset there.
Okay, I'll back Taylor, and I think I'll back Dillian White. And interesting, he's come out talking about Maverick and back it. I agree with his Latin. I think he sometimes says what he thinks to try and, develop himself almost, so he reaches a height. White said that because he then becomes a mandatory challenger, he says that if he becomes a mandatory challenger, Tyson Fury will vacate the belt. He won't dare fight him because he still thinks, doesn't he? He still thinks there's this rumour that he knocked him out in training. And
Tyson Fury is the best technical boxer in that division.
Yeah, he is. But whether he vacates it or not, I don't know. Because he's got to fight, just as Joshua's fighting later, he's got to fight him before he can fight Wilder, hasn't he?
The funny thing is, he'll vacate because he'll do Wilder, then he'll do Joshua, and then at some point Dylan White will get his comeuppance.
Yeah. But and of course, Anthony Joshua and Dylan White hate each other. Joshua is part of the Sky commentary team. And have you seen that they've had to put a Winnebago in the car park at the hotel? So Eddie Hearn has bought a Winnebago just for Dylan White and his crew, because he said that if he saw Provocaine, he's that pumped till he saw him in the hotel knocking out.
Dylan White, it's just another level, isn't it? Right,
crackers.
Moving on, Jack's story.
Okay, so this story comes back from 2005. 2005? Yeah, 2005. My first year at Woodall, and 2006. Sorry, 2006. First year at Woodall Spa. So we're playing in Division 1. We're at home. I can't remember who we're playing against, but I've been in and out, and what I witnessed, I will never witness again, and I'm flabbergasted. So I can't think who we were playing against, but we were batting. Matt Sargent was batting, was the striker, and Andy Scobers, Athers, spin image of Mark Atherton is, local farmer, is at non-striker's end, and going nicely. So he's at the non-striker's end, right arm over the wicket bowler, spinner, I think it was. Sarge is batting right-handed, so Scobers is at mid-on, quite wide, not close to the umpire, but fairly wide backing up. And Sarge is a big lad, big hitter of the cricket ball, good golfer, so he gets hold of a cricket ball, you're not stopping it, you know. Anyway, so Sarge pats one or two back, oh my God, he's going to launch one here, because I think we're coming towards the end of the year, he's going to launch one here. Anyway, and there's long off and long on back on the boundaries. So he's either got to go along the floor into the gap, or he's got to go try and clear it into the school at Woodall. Anyway, of course, he winds up whack. And I kid you not, it hits Andy Scully on the head. He's not got a helmet on because he's old school, so he hasn't got a helmet. It hits him on the head, and it rebounds to mid-wicket, in which the fielder takes the catch, Sarge is out.
Is that oh my God?
Genuinely, that's what happened.
What about Athers? Was he still alive at this point?
Athers was down, but not out. Dusted himself up. He was not out. Sarge, his partner, Athers carried on. Scobers carried on. A bit of a lump on his head. Off we go, and we got a lot, and we won because we won the league that year without losing the game. So, but unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. And I have to tell you, and you know, Sarge has not mishit this cricket ball. He has hit it flat and hard, and of course it's gone slightly leg side, so he's got all his bottom hand in, and it's hit Andy on the head and has been bloomed up and has been caught at mid-wicket.
That's frightening. Just one, I can't believe Athers is still alive.
I know, yeah.
Two, just I don't even. So that's a ruling that if it deflects off anybody,
that's out, yeah.
What about if it is the umpire?
I think that's out too, yeah.
Wowzers, so you could.
Yeah.
So if you really wanted to cream one at the umpire, could you risk getting out as well?
Yeah, you just get getting out. Yeah, there's a few umpires been. If I hit it straighter, I would take it on, but I'm just not hitting it straight enough to do that. But obviously tonight we'll see, because
yes, Jack's first game of the season.
The Exiles.
He's got his Exiles t-shirt on tonight. This is the big one. Jack, predictions for tonight's game?
It's pre-season friendly, DCC tournament at Sevens, meant to be at the stadium, but there's certain IPL leagues in town, so we've been canned to the outgrounds. Against Dubai Daredevils, I believe, never heard of them, don't know how good they are. All I know, it's a 7:45 start under the floodlights, and it's going to be about 38 degrees. And what's the humidity?
Humidity, you're probably talking up towards 49.
So, I don't know.
I'm going to go.
There won't be a lot of running, mate.
I'm going to say Luffers out first ball.
Oh, that is pressure.
I'm
going to have to get that out of my head.
Yeah, you're going to be walking out and you're going to be thinking, oh, Stu said I'm going to go out first ball.
Whoever opens a batting with me, get ready to run that first ball.
But yeah, thank you very much, everybody. Right, Jack, I'll let you finish off.
Yeah. So this weekend on Saturday we are again recording a live show in conjunction with Platinum List. We've got Durant Gerber with us, who is a former professional rugby union player, had some Italy A caps. Has been coach and his first 15 rugby player for the Dubai Exiles out here in Dubai. Got some stories to tell, I think, and a journey both personal and professional. So he's joining us on Saturday. Good lad, Stuart. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, Duran's a top guy. Yeah, so as you mentioned, out in Italy, played professional out there. I believe he played in the Currie Cup, which means you're allowed to go represent. Playing for South Africa.
He's of South African descent, isn't he?
Yeah, so top guy, well respected in the world of rugby out here. So it'll be interesting to see what stories he's got going on there.
Yeah, and of course, what we'll also do is put all that out on our social media sites, and
and you can even talk about it now on Alexa if you really wanted to. So Alexa, talk. And just Alexa play Sporting Jibberish, and then jobs are good.
Yeah, exactly right. So that'll be all that. We'll put it on social media times at 6 p.m. UAE time tomorrow evening. So that's going out live, so 3 p.m. UK time. Get us on, rate and review on podcast.
Yeah, you completely threw me then. You're like, tomorrow's 6 p.m. I'm like, today's Thursday, recording Saturday. Yeah, but by the time you guys have got it, just ignore me.
Just go on social media, still get it right on there, no problems. Please share it. I'm going to go and get my head right now for tonight's big game. He's done me there. Please share what anything you want to disagree or agree with us about, because at the end of the day,
what do we know?